Hello artists, today I'm going to be showing you the paper mache part for our crayons, colored pencils, or pencils sculpture. So for this, we have our armature all set and ready, and now we're going to cover it with paper mache and strips of paper. Sometimes we use newspaper, sometimes we use paper towels, it depends. And so today you're going to get a plate of paper mache, and what we want to do when you're applying the paper mache, well, first, let me back up a little bit. We are going to want to have you have a strip with your name and your class code ready on there. And that'll come in handy later. Let me just put that off to the side. So when you're applying the paper mache, you're going to want to dip it in. And then what you're going to want to do is with your two, like your thumb and your pointer finger, you're going to want to scrape most of that paper mache off. The thing is, if you get the paper mache too wet, like if you get your armature too wet, it could damage your armature. So we don't want to be super globby with this. So really make sure to dip and then wipe off the excess. And sometimes when I have enough paper mache on there, like all the goop on there, I don't even need to add any extra. And you'll kind of see when it happens when I go up, as I do this process. So we want the whole thing to be covered with these white, or with the paper, in the paper mache. Also notice as I'm doing the paper mache, I'm kind of like rubbing it into this one. This strip I didn't even put any paper mache paste on. I'm kind of like forming it around the armature just so it's nice and smooth. Especially be careful when you're putting paper mache on the pointy part, because that's made out of cardstock and we don't want that to get super wet and destroy your form. All right, now that everything is covered, I don't see any more of the tape showing. It's going to be ready to paint when it dries. So this is where that little piece of paper with your name on it comes in handy. And so you're just going to just stick it somewhere, don't wrap it all the way around, and then put it where you need to let it dry. And yeah, and so if there's a lot of extra on your plate, don't throw it away. I'll return it to the container. But if it's mostly gone, you can just throw it away. All right, thanks for watching. Hey artists, today I'm going to talk to you about painting our sculpture. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to take the name part of your sculpture off. I'm just going to write it on the end. And try not to cover up your name with paint at that spot, because we gotta know whose is whose. And so when we start painting today, we gotta think about what a crayon, colored pencil, or a pencil looks like. So we're not gonna do the small details today. We'll do those another time. We'll layer those over. And so I'm gonna be doing a crayon, and adjust it, you know, in your mind if you're doing a colored pencil or a pencil. So if I'm looking at the crayon, the waxy part is darker than the wrapping part. So I've got that a little end that I need to do darker, and I got my tip that I need to do darker. The black parts we'll do later, and then this is lighter, so I'm going to do a tint of this. So when I paint, I need to do my dark parts first, because I'm going to add white into that later. So I am going to start to paint with my blue. I'll make a nice edge around that. And if you see, as I'm painting, there's like some little white spots in there. And so to get those, you can get your brush full of paint and just kind of dab, 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 maybe get your brush a little wet, and just try to be as precise as you can with painting this. I don't expect you to be perfect, but I expect you to do your best work. So I'm going to paint the dark parts first, and then I'll move on to painting the wrapper part. All right, so now for the wrapper, I'm going to just take a little bit of white because it's not very much lighter than the blue. Especially like if you're doing a red that's going to turn into a pink. You just want a little bit of white. So I'm going to take, we'll see how happy I am with it. Ooh, that looks kind of nice. See if I can notice a difference. That's a big thing. That's pretty good. I think I want my wrapper to be a little bit lighter, and so that's going to be your decision. So I'm going to mix that in. Make sure you have enough of the color, and your fingers are going to get a little dirty because you kind of got to hold it and paint at the same time. So your fingers are going to get a little dirty. That's okay. It's art class. All right, and then when everything's covered up, except for your name, I kind of covered up my V, so I'm just all ends, but whatever. And then we're gonna let that dry, and then we will do the details another time. Hello artists, today we are going to be making the details for your paper mache sculpture. So last time what we did was we did the base coat of the painting, for the painting part, and now we're going to do the details. So if you're doing a crayon, you're going to need some black paint, and you're going to want to look at, and I'll have images up of the materials up on the screen so you can kind of look at the details. I'm going to be giving you a piece of black paper that can either be for the name brand of your crayon, or if you're doing like a pencil, it can be for the number 2 as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in pencil first. And so I'm going to kind of draw an oval, and I'm going to glue that on once I have my name brand done. And then, so also if you're getting a pencil, I'm going to give you a piece of tin foil that I'm going to want you to cut and kind of wrap around and glue on your pencil for the shiny part. So today is all about looking at the details and kind of noticing those and creating those. And then the last step after you have all the details done is if you have a crayon or a colored pencil, is to give a name for it. So I think I'm going to call mine Beautiful Blue. And I'm just going to write that with Sharpie. And then our sculpture is completed.